Once again, we're in our book club, and my guest is, as usual, Manayara Çelik.
His daughter.
Exactly. So, you have chosen The Elves and the Shoemaker.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start reading The Elves and the Shoemaker this is retold by Rob Lloyd-Jones and illustrated by John Joven.
Who was John Joven?
I have no idea.
Oh.
He is the guy who drew all these illustrations, I suppose.
He's a really good drawer.
Let's see. Once there was a famous shoemaker. Lords and ladies loved his beautiful boots, and even kings wore his slippers. But now the shoemaker was old. He had aches and pains from sewing and stitching. No one wanted to buy his shoes or boots anymore. All day long his shop sat silent and empty.
Poor shoemaker. He doesn't have any money.
The shoemaker started at his last piece of leather and sighed. After this, I don't know what we will do. Let's worry about it in the morning, his wife said, and she led him away with a hug. But morning came with a big surprise. There on the workbench sat a fantastic pair of brand new shoes.
I know what happened, but I won't tell the surprise.
Okay, good for you. Everyone admired the shoes in the window. They were sleek and shiny and perfectly stitched. The shoemaker sold them the moment he opened his shop. The next morning came with an even bigger surprise. 2 pairs of boots stood on the shoemaker's bench. And what incredible boots they were, with twirly patterns and golden toes.
Can I see?
Yep. Here they are.
I can't see anything.
I was showing it to the camera. These are the ones. The shoemakers sold them in seconds. "Oh my," said a customer, "never have I seen such elegant boots." "Heavens," gasped another. "Just look at those laces and handsome high heels." The strange... Handsome, yes. Handsome means beautiful.
It's beautiful for a man.
It doesn't have a specific gender.
Oh.
The strange shoe magic continued for weeks. Every morning when the shoemaker woke, there on his workbench were more fabulous shoes. Each day, they were finer than the last.
And
they had
Adam.
Shiny buckles, twirly ribbons, and pretty bows tied in leather and lace. Word spread. The shoemaker is back to his best. People came from far and wide to buy his splendid shoes.
Wow.
But the shoemaker felt strange about this change of fortune. He knew that his shoes were not really his shoes at all.
Yes.
"Let's hide in the workshop tonight," he said to his wife. "We'll see who's making all these wonderful new shoes." That night, the shoe shop door opened with a quiet creak.
And I know who it is. It starts with A, but I won't tell it.
2 shadows flitted through the silvery moonlight, and soft feet padded across the floor.
Cute.
2 tiny creatures in raggedy clothes sprang onto the workbench. They were giggling and grinning and dancing and singing. "Elves?" thought the shoemaker. Smiling and singing, the elves set to work, hammering heels, stitching leather, and making fluffy pom-poms. By the first light of morning, the latest pair of shoes was finished, and the cheery little elves scampered away.
I wonder why are they doing this? Maybe to help them?
Maybe. They're magical creatures. The shoemaker gasped and his wife clasped her hands. "What magical creatures?" she cried. "We must repay their kindness." But the shoemaker said, "What can I make for an elf?" For the first time in weeks, the shoemaker sat at his workbench, cutting and stitching leather and cloth. He worked and worked. As day became night, his candle burned down and his eyes ached in its flickering light. Finally, he was finished. He left what he had made for the elves to find. Those creatures have given us so many wonderful surprises," he told his wife. "Tonight, they'll have a surprise of their own." The elves squealed with joy when they saw the shoemaker's gift. "What stunning new suits," they said in delight. "Such terrific top hats and tails."
Did they squeal like this?
I believe so. The elves danced all around the workbench, gleefully singing about their magnificent suits.
Can I see their suits?
Yep.
Why are they upside down?
Because I'm showing them upside down to you. What happy little elves are we? No longer workmen shall we be. We look so fine in our new suits, no longer shall we stitch new boots.
I'm happy for the little elves.
The shoemaker and his wife watched the happy elves skip off into the night. Thanks to the kind little creatures, they could live comfortably for the rest of their lives.
Yay!
The shoemaker never made another pair of shoes, but whenever he thought of the elves, he smiled. He hoped they were still singing and dancing somewhere in their fine hand-stitched suits.
That was a pleasant story.
Yeah. This story, The Elves and the Shoemaker, was first written down by brothers Jacob and Willem Grimm. The Grimm brothers. You know the Grimm story. Yeah.
They wrote
Hansel and Gretel as well.
And Cinderella.
The Grimm brothers, who lived in Germany around 200 years ago, loved fairy tales. They collected lots of other stories too, including Cinderella and Snow White.
I told you.
Yes, you did. So, what was the moral of the story?
I don't know what moral is.
The message. You asked me about why these elves were making the shoes.
Yeah. Why? I wonder why.
It could be because they're good and they're helping. So,
or maybe they have a curse.
There's nothing about a curse here, but yes, that could be. Since they did the goodness without expecting anything in return, they were much more than they expected. So if you do good things in your life for people who don't expect it, you surprise them with good, you will win.
And even gooder.
Even better.
Even if you don't have any money, never use money for cheating.
You can always be good without spending money.
The important thing is that you have a good life and have good manners. If you don't have them, you may end up in the jail. Sometimes. If you lie.
You may just end up being unhappy.
Or if you lie with money, you may end up in the jail.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that too. Thank you for being my guest today and for another book club. Is there anything you want to say?
Bye-bye.